I met a gypsy.
Yeah. Can I tell you my opinion of like, or like my thoughts around the judging? So I don't know whether this could work or whether this is like the most insane idea. Could the event be prejudged by the riders? So
on line choice or on?
So could this work, right? So you guys all know the lines that everyone's going to do, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Pretty much everyone. Yeah. There's not much that people, like everyone knew Tom was going to front flip that thing. Everyone kind of knows. So I wonder if there's a way, like Friday before the event, everyone gets a piece of paper. You got, this is the Brendan Ferraclos run. And then you guys give it everyone's individual. No one it's all anonymous. You score that run. You score. You don't get to score your own run. You'd score Cam's run. You'd score, like, knowing what they're going to do. You'd be like, okay, here to here to here to here to here. That's the score that you guys think as riders. You know exactly the risk, the exposure, like, you know the deal. And then that gets given to the judges. So, like, you'd combine those scores. Your run is your best run, if you do everything right, is a 93.1, whatever, right? Yours is a 92.8, right?
94.
94.1, sorry. And it's like everyone kind of has their perfect score for their perfect run. And then all the judges get to do is to make deductions if something gets messed up. Like if there's over rotates at 3 and you like go off into the woods a bit, but then you come back on and then you hit the next drop. So you'd like deduct half a mark for that. And then it's like, because I feel like you guys really know who should win the event. You guys know based off being on the hill the whole time, based off, you've probably hit most of the shit yourself. So it's like maybe the riders judge and then they give those scorecards to the judge. And then you're like, all right, Brandon Semenuk's coming up. This is a 90 whatever run. If he can nail this run, first run, he fucks up the flip whip. So it's like, cool, that's why the score is what it is. Then he goes up for run number 2. I don't know. I just feel like that might be a way to just like fully get it in the ballpark. And then it sort of takes it out of the judges' hands in a way. And they're just there to basically like,
plus or minus
police the mistakes that you guys made on the run.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, because we were always talking about it somewhat like gymnastics, to where it's all deductions and additions and max point score, max line score. But I never thought about taking, as we talk about rider judging the whole thing, but like segmenting it, like you're saying, maybe the riders just do max line choice or maximum line score. I think that's a pretty amazing idea. And even if it were a combination of riders and judges, all coming to grips with what's the max line score for this one, I mean, that's the most transparency you could get right there. All right, so I stepped into this and realized that that's the best I could do, so I really need to step my run up, or now I can't complain because I knew this going in that my run is only worthy of an 85 or whatever. Like, I think that that's probably one of the best things you could do without handing it over to fully rider judged, but just getting everyone else to kind of sign off on it, because it's a mess. But there's no way if you rode this line like perfect into every trick in the world, it would ever beat this one. I mean, I think that should be kind of predetermined, not like the emotions of it. And years past when people are, Bizet should have won because he did a double flip at the bottom. You're like, well, that's not Rampage. All right, now we crossed that bridge. Now that Adolph's doing double flips, and he's not even getting talked about getting underscored when he's doing double flip and an amazing rest of the run. I think that always thought that there should be almost different multipliers or zones. Tricks higher up on the mountain always score higher. It should. It's more elevation, more risk, more, it's harder to build a jump and ride it on a steeper portion. And then the middle should be a little bit less, and the bottom should be, the lowest multiplying of whatever trick you're going to do. So to add in that idea with adding in the rider judge and then a little bit of gymnastics, like structure of having a max score and then deductions or additions, if you just fucking laced it. And it was like, Kyle's always the fastest one down. He gains points where other people wouldn't really be getting noticed, It's like you take, providing himself a little bonus where it would normally not even be cared of as judge. So I think there's places to where you could always gain a little bit, but mainly having a base score for a line.
Yeah.
And then it could be raised a little bit, but drop.
I think
more,
that also
more so dropped, right?
Also that it's up front, right?
Yeah.
So that when McCall or whoever is talking about, they're like, oh, this line is a sick line, and these are the pluses and minuses of it. This is their score, and so then people aren't like, what happened? And have no idea, not being out there. Like, I think that's some of the problems of, comments or whatever, right? And most of those people have never been out there, right? And then if you take the riders, like you're saying, and they already know what's going on with their line, with all the other riders' lines, then you can get it really a good understanding of where they should be, they should be at in the scoring.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just think it would, the one thing that's always weird in these events, and it's the same in Moto with X Games and shit, right? You get a guy that does the first run, and it's like, all right, like, what is this to 100? Like, how do we set this scale? And I thought, like, Brandon going first this year, like, fuck, that's got to be weird on the judges. Like, here's a guy that's capable of winning any single rampage that he ever does. So how do you hand out the winning score in the first run? You kind of can't.
You
like,
can't,
it's such a...
Well, and then also, no matter what, we've tried to get them to do it a few times. Of back in the day, they, I guess, '08 was the first time they didn't do it, but all those early years, the first 4 years of the event, they would hand out the scores after the last rider dropped on the first run, right? So we'd have lunch, and then they'd re-rack the order. And we've requested that a couple times. And I feel like the riders that go first, the first 4 riders, they don't get screwed in that scenario, right? Where you're like, well, where do we put them? Obviously you're going to score Brandon high if he lands it because it's going to be insane. But what number is that, and where do we, slot them in, right? So I feel like that would help drastically on those first riders drop, along with like reshuffling. Usually your first 3 riders are in the highest points are kind of up there, and you're like, that makes sense. And then once it goes past that, it starts really getting like really tough to judge as well, but then also kind of confusing, right? Where should we put these boys? And the more time you have, the more time you get to like figure it out. I mean, personally, I don't think 3 minutes is enough to like, take multiple runs and go, actually, we should put this rider here, or this rider here.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that they bend the rules a lot on their judging anyway, because it's supposed to be 5 judges, right? 5 top and bottom scores get washed or get thrown away, and then they average the 3 middle. I'm nearly positive that's the format, but I don't know how. I think it's 5 judges. But then there's the head judge who takes it and organizes everyone's scores, and maybe asks the contentious question: against you scored this rider this high and this one. Do you want to recalibrate your score? Okay. So they're there to some degree.
Yeah, that's just too much fuckery.
Yeah.
It's just so much.
Well, I don't even think that they end up doing that, right? Because they claim that they like 1 year, like last year, they said that they gave me such a high score to leave room in the middle. How fucking confusing is that for Tom and Storch? They're like, okay, we're not going to gain 8 points.
Yeah.
So but I've been in that position before as well against Sorgi. I was, last to drop or second to last to drop, and Sorgi goes down, and then I had 7 or 8 points to make up. I'm like, I got to fronty this, I got to do this, and then come to find out later that before I even upgraded the run, they told me that I had it, that would have been enough. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? That was 8 points right there. But so these are the little things with experience of, all right, I know that they're going to score second runs higher. I know that this is just the way it works, the emotion of it. And then they're unintentionally or subconsciously building a TV show drama. But no matter what, it's just human nature. You want to see it get better and last run a drop. It carries some weight for sure, but it shouldn't really on the score. It does emotionally for us. It's harder to do it, but it shouldn't really carry any more weight on the score of doing A versus B, first run versus second run. It shouldn't matter. But I don't think that they end up actually it's not just magic that all of them decided to give room. It's not magic that they got like 0.3 right of all of them. I really don't think it's that exact. I think that they are just ordering them and putting a number on it.
Yeah.
So,
Which is not how it should be.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't provide you guys much clarity at all. And then even, this year, Brandon goes up, and then who did the run before him the second
Tommy
run?
G.
Tommy G.
Yeah. So he did his
Crushed
run.
it.
Yeah, which was fucking insane.
In gnarly wind.
Gnarly win, bro.
Gnarly.
Yeah.
Where I didn't make sense of why they were dropping or how they were like, all right, I'm good. I was like, whoa.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.